Alessandra and Edgar walked to where his grandmother Rose stood all alone. When they got closer, Alessandra could see a slight resemblance between Rose, Edmund, and Edgar. As Edgar looked like his father, it seemed Edmund inherited many of his looks from his mother. Rose smacked Edgar on his arm when he was within reach. Why didn't you invite me to your wedding? Why didn't you write to tell me that you were seeing someone? You know I hate hearing things about you from other people. Then stop listening to what they say. Edgar grinned and released Alessandra's hand for a moment to hug his grandmother. Why did you worry when you knew I would visit? Rose patted Edgar's back, happy to have her only grandchild back in her presence. Still, it would have been nice for me to be there. Introduce me to the woman who has changed your views on marriage. She looked behind Edgar at where Alessandra stood. Of course. Grandmother, this is Alessandra Collins, my wife. Alessandra, this is my grandmother, Rose Collins. Edgar introduced the two women. Lovely, isn't she? He asked his grandmother. Rose reached out to hold both of Alessandra's hands. She was curious about the mask, but didn't ask, knowing there had to be a pitiful backstory to someone hiding their face. It's nice to meet you, dear. You have no idea how much I owe you for finally getting this grandson of mine to get married. Is he treating you well? It's nice to meet you too, Mrs. Collins. Call me grandmother, just like Edgar does. You are now part of the family. Edgar, go ahead to the table. There are guests there. I want to have a conversation with your wife alone. Go. She shooed him away. No harm will come to her. I am aware of that. It's your guests that I do not want to go see. Please do not be long, said Edgar. He could not take being around one particular person. No fighting in my dining room. Rose reminded Edgar of her one rule. How do you deal with my antisocial grandson? People annoy him so easily, she said as she and Alessandra slowly walked towards the dining room. We get along well. I think there are good reasons why he doesn't like being around someone, Alessandra honestly replied. Outside of Edgar teasing her, they got along well. She didn't think Edgar got annoyed easily. He was just tired of people who do and say the same things each time they were in his presence, and that was why he hated seeing them around. Rose enjoyed the fact that Alessandra disagreed with her. Right from the start, all the other wives of relatives she met would agree with her every word. Tell me about your family. Alessandra was surprised that someone with money, like Rose Collins, did not look into her background. Or maybe she did, but she was going to see if Alessandra was going to sugarcoat her life. My father, Desmond Barrett, was a baron. He recently died and will soon be buried. I have not seen my mother in many years, but my stepmother and sister live in Lockwood. A baron's daughter. How did you and Edgar meet? He visited my home to get information from my father. We met that night and took a liking to each other. Alessandra lied to keep up with a contract rule. Plus, she knew Rose would be sad to learn Edgar had only gotten married through a contract. The two of you got married quickly. I want to believe that it is love, but I know my grandson well. You two might be married, but I know him better than you do. It's hard to believe that he went from being against marriage to just popping up with a wife one day. Even more surprising is that you are the daughter of a man he dislikes. Don't look so surprised. I keep up with my grandson, and I once lived in Lockwood, said Rose. I don't have anything to do with my father's relationship with Edgar. I did not blackmail him into marrying me. We met at the party, and a proposal was given not too long after. If you just give me a chance, I don't need to. Rose interrupted Alessandra. Thanks to you, my grandson won't end up alone in that house. I know him well enough to see that he is happy, which is all that matters. Whatever the situation may be, I don't care. Whether you two fell in love with each other or not does not matter. Please, keep my grandson happy. Alessandra didn't expect the conversation to turn to Rose thanking her. By questioning if she and Edgar loved each other, she was expecting his grandmother to say the marriage was a lie. I will try my best, she replied. Have you met his mother yet? If you have, I'd bet my house she didn't take a liking to you, Rose said, already knowing the answer. She has not, and I don't think she ever will. I don't have the best reputation back home because of my face, and I don't seem to be the perfect match for Edgar. Considering Edgar's words, I will just ignore her for now. However, I am able to have a civil chat with his father, said Alessandra. Rose didn't find it surprising that only Edmund was trying to warm up to Edgar's wife. Edmund is trying to fix the relationship he has with Edgar, so he will be kind to you. Not that he is never kind. Priscilla, on the other hand, is a piece of work. Just cares about her status and appearing perfect. If you knew the number of times I had to travel and take Edgar from her care, he's how he is now because they relied on servants to raise him. Rose continued to say, it didn't help that their marriage wasn't as perfect as it seemed on the outside, with rumors of infidelity. That was mostly because of the engagement my husband forced Edmund into. But that's a story for another day. If his mother starts getting between you and Edgar, send me a letter, and I'll pay a visit to send that witch away. The only good thing I got from her was my grandson. Alessandra was grateful to have someone to help her stand up to Priscilla in the future. As people back home played dirty to ruin her, she needed an ally like Rose Collins. Before they entered the dining room where chatter was heard, Rose stopped Alessandra as there was one last thing that needed to be said. Edgar has fulfilled one of his promises by getting married. You can help him fulfill the other promise before I leave this world. I only wish to be able to play with one of my great-grandchildren. Rose placed her hand on Alessandra's flat stomach. Will you make that promise? Alessandra found herself trapped at the edge of the cliff. She and Edgar had done nothing for anyone to expect to hear she was pregnant anytime soon. But his grandmother appeared so excited that she would not break the woman's heart. Yes, Alessandra promised Rose. We have a new addition to the family. I've already shared the good news of Edgar getting married. This is Alessandra Collins. It's nice to meet everyone. Alessandra greeted the two men who shared similar looks, as did a woman. What is with the mask? One of the men asked. Is she not a looker? Daniel, you idiot. Dominic, the oldest of the two brothers, shook his head. After Edgar had warned Daniel to not say anything stupid to his wife, this was the first thing his brother had to say. Excuse my younger brother. I'm still trying to get my parents to admit they found him on the side of the road. My name is Dominic Carson. Welcome to the family. He stood up to greet her. Thank you, Alessandra replied and shook his hand. After shaking his hand, she looked at Daniel and said, I had an accident when I was younger, so I keep my face covered. What kind of accident? Daniel questioned further. It wasn't every day he saw someone walking around with a mask when there was no ball or party. Seeing Edgar look more annoyed than usual, Dominic knew he would lose his only sibling if Daniel would not keep his mouth shut. He didn't know if that would be such a bad thing, but he would hate to see his mother crying over the loss of a son. Daniel? Rose called the young man who begged to stay with her, and now she regretted saying yes. Shut up. Take a seat beside Edgar, dear. She switched her tone when speaking with Alessandra. She wanted to see the couple side by side once again. Should I help you sit down first? Alessandra asked. Thank you, but the day I need someone to help me sit would be the day I give up and simply remain in bed. I like to think I am not that old yet. Go on and have a seat, Rose said, sitting down on her own to show that she was fine. As Rose requested, Alessandra went to where Edgar sat to the right of his grandmother. Why do your cheeks look red? Edgar touched her exposed cheek right as she sat down. This action only caused her cheek to become redder. Rose played with the necklace around her neck that was given to her by her late husband as she watched Edgar and Alessandra. Your wife made a promise with me, Edgar. Therefore, you cannot deny something that you promised me long ago. Edgar critically watched Alessandra play with her fingers after his grandmother's words. Tell me what it is, and I might entertain it, he said while playing with a strand of Alessandra's hair. He wasn't bothered by what anyone at the table would think of his actions. I should look forward to having a great-grandchild soon, Rose informed Edgar. If needed, she would once again live in Lockwood to help raise the child. Edgar's hand paused for a moment before twirling Alessandra's hair around his finger. Is that so? The corners of his lips curled. If she has promised you one soon, then I aid her in fulfilling this promise quickly. I won't stop until the promise is said and done. He slowly ran his finger against the back of her neck and enjoyed the sight of her shuddering. How many do you think we should have, Grandmother? Rose pinched the back of her hand in case this was a dream and she needed to wake up. She never thought she would be talking about her future great-grandchildren with Edgar, and he would ask how many. Was her time nearing? Was that why the day was going perfectly? As many as your wife can have without any complications, she answered. I agree with that. What do you think, Alessandra? Edgar asked, while ignoring the fact that she wanted this conversation to end. I think 6 would do. 6? Alessandra looked at Edgar like he had grown another head. Their deal was only for her to give him an heir. Now he was talking about 6. Was he saying this to please his grandmother, or was he being honest? There was no way she would ever have 6 children. Before her marriage, she did not even think she would have 1, even though she loved children. Too many? Edgar smiled, enjoying the look of horror she wore. I will settle for 4. That is wonderful. Rose agreed with the amount. The more the merrier. If you would need a big house for so many children, you can one day have this one. Daniel and his wife shared a look. Grandmother, my wife and I also have a child. Should we bring her by more often? We've been trying to get some time to ourselves to try for a baby. Daniel spoke up, attempting to bring the limelight on himself. How about giving us this house to have more children? Edgar does not require more room. Have you not seen his estate? Daniel had been married for 2 years now and already had 1 child. He was certain he got his wife pregnant during their honeymoon. It seemed he was more capable than Edgar when it came to making heirs. You are not my grandson, Rose stated, the one thing that hindered Daniel from ever getting her house. Your grandmother is my sister. Ask her for a home. The Carsons don't seem to be short of money. Daniel slumped back in his chair, annoyed that he had been born a Carson instead of a Collins. The Carsons had money, but the Collins had the wealth to last many generations. Dominic, now that Edgar is married, only you are left. Find yourself a good girl or whoever and settle down, Rose encouraged him. She did not want anyone to be alone while others started their families. Daniel snorted and covered his mouth. She said that she would accept you being with a man. Using this moment while everyone was distracted by the siblings' conversation, Alessandra patted Edgar's leg to get his attention. Please leave my hair alone before you ruin it, she whispered. No, thank you. Edgar turned down her request. He was enjoying himself too much right now. My mind can be changed by a kiss on the cheek if you want me to stop. Mother, you look wonderful. A tiny mark on your face does nothing to your beauty, Kate said to cheer her mother up. She stood in her mother's bedroom, watching her touch the mark created by Edgar. You are still the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. Please do not wither away in your room because of this. I need you. It was the biggest shock for her to learn that Edgar had visited their home because of the rumors they had spread about Alessandra and the cook. Kate couldn't believe her ears when James told her that Edgar had cut her mother's cheek. Kate felt like it was the biggest crime ever committed. Her mother's beauty was beyond compare in this town, so to cut her face should have a punishment of death for that person. Kate wholeheartedly believed Alessandra had convinced the Duke to harm her mother's face because Alessandra was jealous. She always thought Alessandra was jealous of their faces, which proved it. If today weren't their father's funeral, Kate would have tried to damage Alessandra's reputation even more. Thank you, Katrina said, showing Kate a small smile to distract her from worrying. She could not stop touching the small mark on her cheek. The doctor said that it would not be evident with proper care soon enough, but Katrina wanted it gone now. For so many years, she lived without a scratch on her face after climbing the social ladder. Now, she could be ruined. It pained her to think how her friends would enjoy seeing her like this. Baroness, some of the guests for the funeral have arrived to offer their condolences. They wish to speak with you and Kate. Clark is entertaining them right now, James informed the two. Kate, go downstairs and have a chat with them. I want you to keep an eye on your uncle. I will be down shortly, Katrina said. Okay. Kate kissed her mother's forehead and left. James, close the door, Katrina told James after Kate left. I am hardly in the mood to go out there and act heartbroken over Desmond's death. If only I'd gone ahead with burning his body and sending it to his mother. She rubbed her temple. James had convinced her against it. It would seem like you did not care for your husband enough to give him a proper send-off, he reminded her. It would have been cheaper if I did it. Hell, I would have done it myself. Desmond is no longer useful, so what is the point of spending good money to bury him? His family should give Kate some money to ease the burden we face to bury him. Is there any word on those bastards? She looked at James in the reflection of her mirror. I've heard they both left town early in the morning yesterday. You do not have to worry about Alessandra attending the funeral, James reassured her. He didn't think Alessandra would show up even if she was in town. Then again, it seemed like Alessandra was doing unpredictable things because of her title. It's hilarious how she won't visit to see the one parent who took care of her being buried. They're painting me as a monster, but she is no different when it comes to how she doesn't care for her father. She was never grateful her father did not kick her out after I begged him to. Look at my face, Katrina said, turning her head to the side so James could see the cut. It is quite small. But it is there, she said through gritted teeth. Katrina did not want to hear how small it was. She wanted to hear him say it would be gone soon. You are still a beautiful woman, Baroness. No other woman holds a candle to you. I will continue to look for the best cream to clear up your face. James changed his response to fit what she wanted to hear. That's more like it. Katrina turned around in her seat to face James. She gave him a look over, enjoying the fact she got to do whatever she wanted with him. If I didn't have to go mingle with Desmond's family, I would take you right now. I need to get rid of my built-up frustration. You will visit me tonight, won't you? James closed his eyes for a second, and then opened them when he came to terms with the fact that he would have no choice but to be here tonight. He disliked that she took advantage of him, but after the numerous times he spent watching her in the past, he started to find excitement in having sex with a woman like Katrina. When would he be able to do something like this again? James nodded his head. But there is something that I want. Oh. Katrina smiled, enjoying that he was throwing away his morals and asking for something now that he would continue sleeping with her. What is it? Money? I am a little tight with it these days. Then you will have to pay it to me as soon as you get it. And I want that if I continue to be loyal to you, you do not try to get me arrested for something that I did not do. All right. Katrina agreed to his terms. Keep in mind that you must be loyal at all times. If I find you to be suspicious, I will get rid of you. You should make it in your best interest to please me well at night, as you are useful for that. The moment I grow tired of it, I will deem you useless and not care about your loyalty. I understand, James replied. That aside, you should clear up the rumors as the Duke requested. Say around others that you have no clue about the relationship between Alessandra and the cook. Since you know the cook's secret, have him be the one to push the rumors. If there is a way, please give me money to hire men to prevent the Duke from getting to you so easily. He's doing his job a little too well, but it is good to have someone so competent around, Katrina thought. If only her husband could have been as good-looking and smart as James. She might have loved him more than his money. I will set aside a budget for you to hire guards. I will have that prepared by the end of the day. Think of how much money you will need before the funeral is over, said Katrina. After Edgar waltzed into her home and hurt her, Katrina had no choice but to go into her secret stash of money and spend some to protect herself. Edgar would never be able to do what he did again. Come, James. I've left Kate to entertain the guests for too long. Heaven knows Desmond's mother is not easy to deal with. Ow! Katrina groaned after she poked at her eyes to make them water. She had the role of a grieving wife to play. Before leaving, she looked in the mirror to ensure her eyes were filling up with enough water. Katrina had to agree that she could have joined the theater. For years, she had tricked many men out of money with the identity she created. Her most successful scheme was convincing a baron she loved him, and now she owned everything belonging to him. Katrina had to wonder, what else could she reach for now? There were other wealthy, gullible men in town she could use to gain money. She had gotten so good at the game that she would not need to sleep with them. My younger self would be so proud, Katrina said, taking pride in the things she did to get where she was now. Ready to put on a good show, she walked toward her bedroom door with James right on her heels and downstairs to where the Barretts were gathering before it was time for the funeral. Mother! Kate exclaimed when she spotted her mother entering the waiting room. Thank you for joining us. She forced a smile as she spoke. As much as Kate enjoyed being around her father's family, she was tired of answering questions about her father's death. A group of people far older than me should know more about being sensitive. Kate internally rolled her eyes. Sorry. Katrina wiped tears from her eyes. I needed a moment to gather myself. Funny, Clark spoke up. He stood behind his mother as she silently observed everything. I have not once seen you crying when my mother was not around. Putting on a show? He asked. Following his question, Clark began to cough uncontrollably and had to turn away from facing his mother. I got a goddamn cold because of this weather. Katrina enjoyed the sight of Clark's life slowly fading away, without him realizing what was being done to him. If only Clark would drop dead now to be tossed in the same grave as Desmond. I have been strong for my daughter, who is now without a father at such a young age. Today is different because I must say my last goodbyes to my husband. Mother. Katrina greeted Desmond's mother, Greta Barrett. I'm sorry for your loss. Greta stared at Katrina for about a minute before sighing. Everyone out, except for the Baroness.